That's how great he is.
I saw when he jumped up and hugged the other dog. I'm like, oh my God, my heart. It was so beautiful. Cute. So, okay, are you ready? Look at these earrings. Like, where do I start? I mean, talk about an amazing custom design piece. And I love like the, you know, get the ripple of texture from the carved, freeform carved design in the center. These are earrings 2 3/8 inches in diameter, appraised at almost $800, $319.98 today. The kyanite, the white zircon, gorgeous.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
So I'm going to be modeling these for you. Bobby and I both are.
I've had them on for hours. I love them.
And they don't hurt. So I just want to show you what happens with Rarities and the way you can make life happen, and it's so great. So this earring, which is malachite and kyanite. Kyanite is a water blue gemstone. It almost looks like a watered sapphire. It's got a softer blue color. I love kyanite. I'm wearing the malachite and kyanite earring, this Art Deco great look, with pearls and with this malachite. If I take off the pearls, the look becomes complete, oops, sorry. Yeah. If I take off the pearls, then I have like my jeans and really cool girl look. Yeah. If I add on the pearls, then I can be a little bit more dressy and a little bit more fun. But I am gonna take these off because I want you to see how amazing is this? Yes, when you talk about a statement, you don't even need the necklace if you have the earring. Now, the reason why the earring can be casual or dressy is because of the malachite. Malachite traditionally, because it is an opaque gemstone, is a little bit more casual. That's that green. Now, this is hand-carved to look like nephrite jade. In the 1920s, during the Art Deco period, a pair of earrings was made just like this, which I found at a store. It's actually from a dealer, a private store. They're $122,000 and they're sapphire and nephrite jade. If you didn't think I remade those for you, I literally said, can I take a picture of those? He said, yes. I said, can I make these? He said, Carol, they're one of a kind. You should totally do it. So what I did was I replaced the nephrite jade with hand-carved. Every one of these pieces of malachite are hand-carved. I replaced the sapphire, that cornflower blue sapphire, with kyanite, which is that gorgeous water blue. I replaced the diamonds with genuine white zircon, and I had my diamond cutters cut the white zircon. Everything about this earring says $30,000, $40,000, except the price tag. Easily. What's going in your ear is rhodium or platinum over sterling silver. That makes it nickel-free. What you are wearing is lightweight. Because you've got the dressiness of the faceted kyanite and then the organic quality of the carved malachite, you have permission to wear this with jeans, with white jeans, blue jeans, black leather, black tie.
Jeans. Yep. I
think that's,
yes, anything at all.
Oh my God. And look at it, like, even with what I'm wearing.
They look so heirloom also. They look, right?
Yeah, these are literally, I took a 1920s magnificent earring, a 6-figure earring, made it for you. It looks just as beautiful. And I just used the materials that we love instead of the nephrite jade, which is so expensive, one of a kind.
And brand new today, and I think very few. So I believe there's only, I don't even know, like maybe 60? 70, there's only 70 remaining. 70 lucky people in the entire country can take advantage of these. So, all right, we were holding out on you. We have a huge surprise that's coming up in the next hour.
I'm putting those on too, because I'm obsessed with these.
So take a look now.